Welcome back to Bridge 4. In the last A Song of Ice and Fire project, we focused on one of Patchface's prophecies, one which may prophesy the rise of the Ice Dragon. And if there's going to be an Ice Dragon in George R.R. Martin's story, then who's gonna ride it? Would it be some random White Walker? Probably not. Odds are that if there is an Ice Dragon, then there's going to be a Night King, just as in the show. In the House of the Undying, Daenery Stormborn had a vision of a blue-eyed king who cast no shadow. That may sound like the Night King, since White Walkers have blue eyes and they come at night, so they cast no shadows. But the blue-eyed king in Dany's vision held a red sword that glowed like sunset. So most likely, unfortunately, Dany's vision of a blue-eyed king with a red sword and no shadow, it's just an ominous vision of King Stannis Baratheon's eventual death. But within the first 5 books of George R.R. Martin's epic fantasy series, A Song of Ice and Fire, there may be clues to suggest that we're going to see a Night King. We're going to take a look at 4 potential clues today. Bran's final visions from A Dance with Dragons, ominous final words to a specific chapter, Jon Snow's idea as to how to defeat the threat north of the Wall, and Bran's time at the Night Fort. First, Bran's huge multi-vision green dream, the last time that we see him in A Dance with Dragons, Bran 3.
You'll never walk again, but you will fly.
An important high-level takeaway is that the visions of Bran's green dream get progressively older and older and older, since the Winterfell weirwood tree in the vision gets progressively smaller and smaller. For years, fans have speculated as to what the individual visions are, so there's no need to belabor that speculation in this video. Link above for one of my old videos on that if you need a refresher. But the details of those visions may not even be important. Mayhaps the point of that sequence of visions was to convey to Bran, or rather to convey to the reader, that something happened at a weirwood tree a long, long time ago. Maybe even the Night King's creation. Clue number 2. The final words of A Storm of Swords, Jon 13. For anyone who's new to this concept, let me frame it for you quickly. The final words of chapters sometimes allude to huge events in the story, such as Littlefinger betraying Ned.
Lord Baelish, perhaps I was wrong to distrust you.
Distrusting me was the wisest thing you've done since you climbed off your horse.
I did warn you not to trust me.
Arya's descent into darkness, the Red Wedding, and the legendary Hodor reveal. Sometimes the clue is pretty explicit, such as here, but sometimes the clue found in the final words of a chapter, it's subtle and involves wordplay, such as the time that Sandor and Arya are arriving to the twins. The chapter ends with Sandor telling Arya to, quote, keep your mouth shut and do as I tell you, and maybe we'll even be in time for your uncle's bloody wedding. Lo and behold, it was a pretty bloody wedding. So we have proof that clues to big events can be found at times in the final words of chapters. Now let's look at the example for today's topic, the Night King. The final words to A Storm of Swords, Jon 13. The wall was his, the night was dark, and he had a king to face. Dun dun dun. Let's keep going, 2 more. The third clue relates to Jon Snow's method of defeating the threat north of the Wall. We all agree that the books will be different than the show in some aspects.
You want a good girl, but you need the bad pussy.
But humor me for a second and check out this line. In A Storm of Swords, Jon 2. Jon is with the Free Folk. He's pretending to be one of them, but he's not yet embraced them. So at this point, Jon is still thinking about how to defeat the wildlings, the threat north of the Wall. And he thinks, he need not slay 1,000, only one. Mance is all that keeps them together. Lo and behold, that is the exact strategy that the Wolves of Winterfell use in the show adaptation to defeat the army of the dead. They need not slay 1,000, only one. The king beyond the wall. So once again, I propose that George R.R. Martin intentionally wrote that line so as to have a secondary hidden meaning. Last but not least, a clue from the Night Fort, clue number 4. There are 2 big walls in this story. The wall that separates Westeros from the true north, and the Wall of Death. Both of these walls relate to the Night King. Bran Stark crossed the former wall at the Night Fort, the first fort ever built on the wall. The fort where the Night's King of history and lore once ruled, not to be confused with the Night King of the show. While Bran was at the Night Fort in A Storm of Swords Bran 4, great chapter, he reflected on many legends of the Night Fort. But the key takeaway from that chapter is that Bran heard a noise. It turned out to be Samwell Tarly and Gilly and the baby. They were coming up a well. But when Bran first heard that noise, he thought of just two of the many legends of the night for it: Mad Axe and the thing that comes in the night. As Samwell was approaching, Bran thought about just these two legends several times, not knowing which one it might be. But then, in the moment that Samwell appeared, Bran settled on it being the thing that comes in the night, which sounds an awful lot like a Night King. And what better book for the Night King to appear in than The Winds of Winter? Now, I understand that not everyone's into the wordplay type clues as I am, but before we go, please remember, Patches may have prophesied an ice dragon, and if there's going to be an ice dragon, there's going to be a Night King. Alright, next Thursday, the second Patchface video. Catch you on the flip side.